Washington mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630.
Good morning, everybody. It is 7:07 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. That applause should give you a clue that we're not in the studio today. We are continuing our Swing State Roadshow. We're out in the Commonwealth of Virginia at the Silver Diner in Tyson's Corner. Still plenty of room, still plenty of coffee. You can get bacon, pancakes. They'll take good care of you. Come out and join us as we explore what's going on in the Commonwealth, which is, of course, the swingiest of all the swing states. I am here today with Larry O'Connor from Breitbart TV helping us out today. Good
Thanks for picking up breakfast, Brian.
Yeah,
this is great. We're eating a different dish every break here. They're going to roll me out of here. It's ridiculous.
Let me run through several things that I need to talk about very briefly. Number one, we are monitoring at WMAL Hurricane Sandy. Maybe it's going to hit us, maybe it's going to go north, but you need to stay tuned to WMAL. We'll tell you what's going on with that as it gets closer and closer. Number two, there's a story out this morning that the Arlington County Police are going to investigate the son of Congressman Jim Moran, and you may remember what's going on here. Yesterday there was an undercover video that showed the congressman's son, who by the way was a campaign official at the time, telling an undercover reporter how he might go about committing voter fraud. Now, we have a chair here for Congressman Moran. His name is on it. We've invited him to come by. Congressman coming down. But I am getting a lot of information on my Twitter machine from something called @Fake Jim Moran.
I'm sure this isn't the real Jim Moran.
Well,
otherwise, why would he call himself Fake Jim Moran, right?
He says, I want to be at the Silver Diner, but I have a stack of utility bills to attend to. And
well,
he said he would come, but he's having a hard time getting his car started.
Yeah.
Well, listen, the Congressman, if you come in, I swear we'll put you on. We have a few questions. Just a few questions to ask you. Hope you don't mind. Later in this hour, Bill Kristol from the Weekly Standard will be in the house. Right now, we are joined by Jamie Radtke, who is the co-founder of the Virginia Tea Party. Jamie, it's good to have you here on WMAL.
Well, thank you. I wanted to make sure I didn't sit in the empty chair.
No, don't sit there.
No, you don't want that.
Would never want to be accused of being Moran.
All right, so let me just start the first question here. That is, the Tea Party, a lot of people don't believe that the Tea Party is as active right now as it was in the last election cycle. And I always tell people, you don't understand what's happened with the Tea Party. It's not that they're marching down at the courthouse or the State House or up on Capitol Hill. They're actually out there doing the hard work of winning elections on the grassroots level.
That's right. I mean, we've definitely become more sophisticated. I thought that E.J. Dionne, our commentary in the Post yesterday, he called the Tea Party dead, was quite humorous. We have become much more sophisticated. We've grown and keep adding new Tea Parties actually on a monthly or every 2-month basis throughout Virginia. I think we're up to almost 60 or more Tea Party Patriot groups throughout the Commonwealth. And, we've been hard at it. We've been actually knocking on doors since January of this year. So all throughout Virginia, and I would say we're not weak in any area. I mean, we have Tea Parties on the Eastern Shore, Hampton Roads, Southwest, Shenandoah Valley, Northern Virginia, and Central Virginia. So we've got the whole state covered well.
And not only that, you're getting help from other Tea Parties from around the country, because in some places the Tea Parties are active in states where, they're not as concerned about the presidential election as they might be, because it's a fairly Republican state. Those people are now coming here to help you.
Yeah, it's been amazing. We've had a strong ground game. I know Barbara Comstock was on earlier, and they've knocked on millions of doors through the GOP. We have also knocked on hundreds of thousands of doors, and we've had people from Texas and Tennessee come into Virginia on every weekend for the last month or two, helping us knock on doors throughout Virginia and making phone calls. So we're very involved in the grassroots game, and we're also very involved, and this is perfect given the Moran story, we've been very involved in True the Vote and having some voter integrity in the polls, and we have tons of Tea Party people signing up to be election officials and poll watchers to make sure that we have integrity in our elections.
Jamie Radtke, you mentioned E.J. Dionne's article yesterday that said the Tea Party is dead, and the whole pivot here that they're pointing out, the mainstream media is pointing out, is that in some way Romney is moderating his views right now toward the last push to Election Day, and they point to some of the positions he took at the last two debates. What are you hearing from the Tea Party folks on the ground? Because there was hesitancy about the Romney candidacy from the Tea Party. Are they starting to feel a little squishy about this right now, too?
Well, I think there's always concern for the Tea Party on any politician, and there's always going to be a desire to hold them accountable, whether they're Republican or Democrat. But when you look at Barack Obama and you look at the fact that he seems to be a pathological liar, I mean, when you look at the fact that you can say in a debate, there's going to be no sequester, and then you pivot 24 hours later and tell Des Moines there will be sequester, and he continually does this kind of switching, and his story is a big concern.
That's the technical term they call flip-flopping.
Flip-flopping.
Yeah.
Well, in the Tea Party we call it lying. So I think that that's a really big concern for people, and I think that they find it insulting. Obviously, the Tea Party's very concerned about spending and the debt and these things, and yet he's more concerned about, like you said earlier, contraception and the frequency of females having sex. I mean, let's
Doesn't that
get
come up
over
at
it.
Tea Party events all the time? I've been to so many, and it seems like birth control is the number one issue.
It really is.
Now, you're making reference to a new ad that the Obama people put out in which a young woman, I'd say she looks like she's about 17 years old, 18 years old, talks about the first time. And it's very double entendre, and you think she's talking about the first time she had sexual relations, and then she, at the very end, they turn the corner and say, no, we're talking about the first time I voted for Barack Obama. And obviously a desire to sort of shore up the female vote, and it's just out right now. A lot of people commenting about it, but that's not what you hear when you talk to real people on the street.
Oh, it's completely offensive. I often wonder if Barack would even let his daughters see that, his own commercial. But
that's a great point. He's got a daughter who is
like too.
Right, but his oldest daughter is actually sort of coming of age, let's say, and it really is kind of a squishy. Why would you even think in these terms when you've got a daughter that age?
I have knocked on hundreds of doors all across Virginia, and every single part of Virginia, because I ran for U.S. Senate earlier this year, and I've knocked on every door. And the issues you hear about spending, the fact that when Barack took office, before gas was under $2, now it's almost $4, the fact that we've got huge debts, all those things are what's concerning people. And the fact, especially in Virginia, where defense is such an important role in Virginia, that we might lose 130,000 jobs because of sequester. And Barack Obama and Tim Kaine don't seem to care.
But, can you just come clean right now? Your first boyfriend, where did he stand on the Lilly Ledbetter Act? Was that the first, when you first were going out, small talk?
Well, I got to admit, when I was that young, we didn't talk about spending in the debt either.
All right.
Fair enough.
Good to know.
All right. So give us your sense of how it's going to go. I mean, right now, if you look at these polls, it is still really, really tight. It really does come down to ground game and organization. How do you feel about your chances as we get closer and closer?
Objectively, I think it's going to be really, really close in Virginia. If you look at the polls, historically, it's been neck and neck with Tim Kaine and George Allen. And I think that we didn't see as much swing in the first debate. We've only seen a little bit of swing in Virginia. It's going to come down, I think, to three counties: Prince William, Loudoun, and Henrico. And so, two of those counties are up here in Northern Virginia.
All right. Jamie Radtke, the co-founder of the Virginia Tea Party, thank you so much for joining us.